But anyway, hello. Welcome to my green room. Yeah, we're building up a new little podcast area, and that's the green screen right there. But anyway, I'm here because it's next level aromatherapy. Next level aromatherapy. What does that even mean? Well, it's come to my attention. I've slow to pick this up, but realizing that many people are confused by all the information out there on essential oils, and I'm certain that I've contributed to some of the confusion, because when I talk about oils, I refer to them from a very clinical standpoint because they are how we have medicine. And what I want to just kind of get to kind of address today is what my approach, what revolutionary aromatherapy actually is, and what sets it apart from your basic essential oil. And the reason this comes to mind is because, like I said, I've been paying attention. I've been looking and really curious as far as, and I didn't want to call this debunking. I thought, well, I could go out there and say debunking. Maybe I should say debunking the myths around essential oils. But I grabbed somebody was offering a free ebook. It wasn't even on oils. She offered it, and I was looking through it, and she's talking about overwhelm in one of the sections of her book. And she actually brought up essential oils in this segment. And what came to mind is some of the things that she referenced, the points that she made, and I wanted to bring them here because when I talk about using oils, I fiercely advocate for them being used every single day. Now, who am I? My name is Tammy Davis. I am the founder of Revolutionary Aromatherapy. My background does include pharmacology. It's where it began, which expanded into epigenetics, the study of plant constituents, and the safe implementation of and integration of oils with medications. That's really where I come from. Now, there are people who don't use medications that use oils. However, that doesn't disqualify you from some of these concerns. So the bottom line is the use of essential oils is simply complex. And I teach you how to begin to use oils in a way that, hey, Nicolette, I teach you how to use oils in a way that will not compromise your system. Like, I got into a conversation last night about polyphenols in the diet. This is a really good example. And essential oils contain phenols. Now, there are symptoms that occur in the body if you have, if a particular detox process, I'm going to just call it that. This is something that I can teach you in my membership. It's a course that I can teach you. It gets into some of the science, not to overwhelm you, but to kind of help you understand. No, sorry, let me take that back. It's to help you understand what your system is actually doing and beginning to realize that there are certain oils that you put on the shelf that maybe you use from time to time and other ones that you can use on a regular basis. That's how you simplify your use of oils, understanding that there are certain oils that, in this case, contain phenols that when that detox process is altered as a result of epigenetic changes, it's not breaking the phenols down. Now, here's an interesting thing. Your body produces phenols. Dopamine is a phenol. These are called catecholamines. Serotonin is a phenol. Estrogen falls in this category. But if the body can't break these down, meaning it can't deactivate them in order to eliminate, then what happens is you end up with side effects and symptoms. Possibly dark circles under the eyes, irritability, insomnia, just to kind of name a couple of things. So if your body is already not breaking these down, then what happens is if you start adding oils with phenols in it, then you are going to complicate the problem even further because your body hasn't even reversed the effects of stress long enough to be able to deactivate the chemicals it naturally produces. So the introduction of oils that could potentially compromise that situation, which just would create aggravation. And then what we have is, the thing that breaks my heart the most is when people go, oh God, see, this stuff doesn't work. Look, it's not working. It's not working because there's stuff happening. And we need to understand what your system is doing. And this is what I'm excited about bringing to the table, because this is what I can help you understand, clarify, and begin to make decisions for yourself. I just saw a text message come across my screen. So, like I said, and that's the reason why, we talk about polyphenol diets and why some people can have polyphenols in their diet and why other ones have food sensitivities around this. It's not because you're allergic to the food, it's because your body can't break those phenols down. So phenols are popular in nature. They are that's what comes in, that's what BPAs are, as an example. So scientists know how to create phenols. They put it in lip balms, they put it in your plastic. So recognizing that we have a lot of phenols in our world, and how to discern what you don't want to use. So like I said, I was reading through this ebook and happened across this section that was talking about oils. And I gotta put my glasses on to see this. But one of the ones she referenced was fennel. Fennel essential oil. Now she's quoting an article, fennel essential oil causes miscarriage. And her point to this is that, with all the information that's out there, that it could potentially overwhelm you. And it's a fact. I completely agree. You can be completely overwhelmed with this kind of information. But what she goes on to say is to reflect on how you actually use the product. Now, in the case of fennel, it has phenols in it. It also has ketones in it, and which are neurotoxic, long-term use of those. And then it has blood thinning qualities to it. So does it really matter how you're using the product? No. It doesn't. And the reason I say that is if you're using, so let me back up a minute. Well, it doesn't matter if you're using the product or not, how you use the product or not. It really doesn't. The only thing that I'm going to say don't do is don't take it by mouth. Because there's a lot of evidence coming out to show that it's disruptive to the digestive system. It could really mess up your biome. And on top of all of that, there's studies in the UK and Australia that are demonstrating the fact that inflammation rises with the consumption of essential oils. So it's nothing to do with purity. It has everything to do with the way it messes with your gut. But that said, if you're just going to use fennel from time to time, then everything's copacetic. If you're not, if you're using it on a daily basis, then that's something that we need to talk about. So does it cause miscarriage? Well, I will say this much. I won't say that it causes miscarriage, but what I will say is it does have a very, very strong influence on estrogen in the body. And so I'm not going to go out that far and say it'll cause a miscarriage, but what I will say is it does affect the estrogen, and that's where I come in, because my specialty is in reversing the effects of the stress response. That's the whole point to revolutionary aromatherapy. So we have well over 70,000 chemicals in our environment that are known to be endocrine disruptors, meaning they act like estrogen in the body. They do not register as estrogen on any sort of medical test. They simply influence the body like estrogen would. Pardon me. And so in this case of fennel, it does just that. Estrogen is not just a reproductive hormone. It is also a stress hormone. So do you want to use fennel on a regular basis? No. If you use oils on an everyday basis, fennel is one of the ones you would put on the shelf and come back to using, maybe because you like the aroma, maybe there's something about the properties, because one of the things that I've devoted my life to doing over the last 12 to 15 years has been identifying the unique properties in every single oil. No two oils do the same thing in your body. So maybe fennel's a good one for you, but it just wouldn't be one that you would want to use on a regular basis. Another fact that she pointed out was that there was oils that are recommended to avoid, how did she say that? Should not be using in people with high blood pressure. Now, I don't even know what oil she's referring to in this. But she went on to reference the fact that these studies were conducted back in the 1940s. Let me just say this much. There are a lot of studies. Let me just say it this way. It's not limited to the 1940s. It's not limited to the 1990s. It's not limited to the 2000s. Man has been searching or researching essential oils and working with essential oils for thousands of years. We've been isolating constituents in plants for hundreds of years. Merck, which is a big pharmaceutical company, was one of the first ones to identify the alkaloids in the opiate poppy. This is where we get codeine, morphine, and of course heroin. But what he was looking for was a concentrated pain relief. That's the reason why we have that. So man has been studying plant constituents for hundreds of years, and the biggest pharmaceutical company on the planet, or one of the biggest ones on the planet, was one of the first ones to actually do it. So they're still doing it to this day. So the study of plant constituents on the human genome is an ongoing study. And these plant constituents are primarily found in essential oils. They come from other parts of the plant too, but for the most part, they're in these oils. So, and the reason that's significant, again, is because these studies are not limited to, decades ago. These are ongoing, current, and that's one of the things that you get with me, is you actually get real-time research. Because I'm committed to us having as much information as possible that we can readily apply that's effective and safe. And this is what I teach. I teach the consumer, and I teach the professionals, the pharmacy professionals in particular. But in the case of this one, what she went on to say was it induced seizures. When they were studying certain oils, they were studying them on dogs, and after a certain amount, the dogs started showing seizures. So her statement was, I quote, "Here's the thing. I hope that you aren't using enough essential oil to induce a seizure. Let's not do that." Now, my statement to that is, it's not about, of course, the amount matters. The more you use, the more toxic it becomes. The genetic receptors can only, because that's what they are, these compounds and oils affect the genetic receptors. They influence activity, genetic receptor activity. You can only activate the genetic receptor for so long, and then it stops. It won't take anything else in. So you can get too much of an oil, in which case, and like I mentioned earlier, some of them have ketones in them, which are neurotoxic. Again, these are things that I can teach you. What oils? Because there's different oils, like even within the same plant species, there's varieties. Some have ketones, some do not. Which ones do you have? That's what I help you discern. But the point is that when you get involved with plants or oils, in this case, that have ketones on a regular basis, it's not a matter of using too much at one time. It's a matter of using them on a consistent basis. Again, I advocate for the use of oils on a daily basis, but you can't be using them at these strong oils like this every day. There are certain ones that you can get away with that don't act like estrogen in the body. And just for reference purposes, lavender is one of the ones that acts like estrogen in the body. So you don't want to use lavender every day. And besides that, lavender, depending on the type of lavender, speaking of a species and a variety, certain types of lavender actually have seizure-causing chemicals in them, neurotoxic chemicals that can lead to seizures. So they're not recommended for people who are prone to seizures. It's not even about inducing a seizure. It's whether or not you are prone to a seizure. So being aware of this is important. Can I say critical? Of course, I'm going to say critical, because we live in a world of chemicals, as I mentioned earlier. There's over 70,000 chemicals in the world today that that have been identified as endocrine disruptors, meaning they act like estrogen in the body. They are not detectable by medical tests. They simply activate the stress response, or they maintain the stress response. They extend the stress response. And long-term exposure to chemicals like that lead to further problems. So, so fenol's not one you want to use. Lavender is definitely not one you want to use if you're prone to seizures. And there are other ones. But we're just going to leave it at these two basic ones for right now. So there's a lot of science to it. That's the next level of aromatherapy, is that these oils are backed by science, especially when you're working with genuine essential oils. Now, if you're going to the store and buying them off the shelf, and there's a few stores that I can think that I've walked in and just about soiled myself because I'm looking at these and they're like $4 a bottle. Really? Even high quality oils, smaller amounts, go for more than $4 a bottle. So, just saying. Quality essential oils matter. What your body needs matters. What's in the oil matters. How you combine them with medications matter. In fact, I'm going to be hosting a live masterclass on essential oils and something known as pharmacogenomics. So if you are a pharmacy professional or you know somebody who is, they might be interested in that. It's going to be held on April 20th. If you have questions for for yourself, let me know. Let's get together. Let's talk. It doesn't cost anything to just see if this is something that you'd like to go forward with. But the bottom line is I'm committed to people reversing the effects of stress, not just relieving the stress, but reversing the effects of it. And in the process of reversing the effects of it, your body naturally knows how to relieve itself. And that's the beauty of next level aromatherapy. So let me know how this information landed with you, if you have any questions about what I've shared here, and how I might be of assistance to you. Maybe I'm not the right one for you, but let me know how I can point you in the right direction. All right? Thank you for being here. I love you. Welcome to my green screen. And I'll be back very soon. Until then, have a beautiful weekend, wherever you are. See ya.